Hello, I'm Emma Rice, the Artistic Director of Wise Children. We've done it. Wise Children, both the show and the company, have arrived at the Old Vic in London, and this is Tech Week. Now, Tech Week is a big week in the life of the show, as it's when the technical teams start to assemble the set, rig the lights, the speakers, set up props, and get all the costumes and wigs ready. The week starts with what's known as the load-in or fit-up. Now, this is the time when all the planning done by this army of designers, makers, builders and engineers comes together, and we turn the theatre from a waiting shell into the world of Wise Children. We have just 2 days to get everything ready before the company join us on stage and we start full technical rehearsals. This is a strange time for me. My work in the rehearsal room is done and the actors are on a vital couple of days off, and everyone else is busily trying to get on with their work. Effectively useless, I decided to make my way around the auditorium and make everyone talk to me about what it is they do. Let's start with Cath Bates, Wise Children's production manager, who is by far the best person to tell us what's going on.
I'm Cath Bates, I'm production manager for Wise Children, and we're loading into the Old Vic. We are starting with cast on stage this afternoon, and we've been here for 2.5 days. That's all we've been here for.
And what, in a sentence, what is your job?
To get everything that is in a small model box to scale and everybody's creative ideas into a technical reality.
Simple then.
Yeah.
And what's been the biggest challenge of this, Wise Children?
We are opening in an incredible venue in London, and we have to be constantly aware that we're going to incredible venues elsewhere, but they're not as large or as well supported as this. And without trying to squash the ideas, trying to make that feasible and enjoyable on tour and not difficult.
So you're not only trying to get this show ready for the Old Vic, you're thinking
absolutely
months ahead.
And also more than technically trying to squeeze it in, making sure that for the team we have that we've put together very carefully, the whole thing is enjoyable as well as feasible.
Describe the main bit of scenery for me.
It's an actual caravan, a 50s caravan that is more beautiful than a real one and has an open face and moves around on stage, but it's like having a scaled up doll's house for everybody to be in.
Everybody wants to set props,
Everybody wants
don't
to be in it. Everyone wants to set props, everyone wants to be in the caravan, everyone wants a caravan of their own, just like that.
And what do the next 3 days have in store for you?
It's like you get to the bottom of your list at this point, at 2:00, and then the list starts again when you actually put what's been in your head, everyone's heads, for months and months, and then you actually put real people on it and go, oh, okay. And add more to it. So it's like the second wind.
And we add actors to it this afternoon.
Yeah,
exactly. Then everything falls apart.
I forget sometimes, because I'm quite disconnected from rehearsals, in some senses. I sort of forget that there's a whole other thing going on. I feel like, oh, there we are, job done. And then obviously it's not. And it will be great to see it properly and see what it becomes.
I'm Vicki Mortimer and I'm a set and costume designer.
What did you just say to me?
Talk to me about something else because I'm frustrated and annoyed.
What's frustrating and annoying you at this moment?
I'm not going to talk about it because it affects a particular department and that would be unkind.
Oh, okay.
However, it's in the context of things looking exciting, so it's fine.
Fair enough. We're literally just stood in front of Vicki's caravan, which is currently spinning.
Yeah. It's very enjoyable, and what we're trying to do is fix the winch positions so that they've got cue points during the show that the winchman can follow.
I can't even believe we're talking about winches because Vicki and I have known each other for decades. But what you do is such a detailed piece of dissemination on so many levels and artistic interpretation. And winching is almost the last thing I think about with you. But your job goes from choosing the colour palette of a piece of lace to the mechanics of a large moving piece of furniture and winching.
Yeah.
How does that work?
It's very difficult because at this stage it's difficult to unpick it because it happens over a very long evolution from the first conversation that you and I might have about the story in its raw state. On this project, I don't know if you remember, but I think you sent me a draft of your adaptation, and we just started talking about that and what we remembered about the book and the sort of the spirit that you wanted to draw from Angela Carter and put into the show. So it was a really non-tangible starting point, and I think it always is. It tends to be a kind of almost a combination of, well, obviously there's instinct. I think that one of the nice things about our collaborations is that we are very fearless about instinct at being allowed to be part of our conversation. It doesn't have to be a kind of empirical, logical step by step. It can be a celebration of gut quite a lot. And I think that leads to some really nice, unexpected and life-affirming decisions that might not make logical sense to anybody else, but somehow just sit inside the character of the show. So going back to your question about how does it go from mechanics to detail to tininess, bigness, and all of that? Quite often by now, I can be sitting in the auditorium at the beginning of a tech and not really remember designing the show. It's already just what it is. And it's, in an ideal world, I think by now it's accumulated enough confidence in its own skin that all of the decisions that we make during the tech sort of make themselves. It's sort of obvious what you should be doing.
The show's sort of presenting itself to us now.
Yeah, it's taken over.
We're just obeying what it's telling us to do. Yeah.
We are. And, there is a part of me that goes, how did we ever get a caravan on stage? But in a way that we don't need to answer that question really anymore.
It is Wise Children.
It is Wise Children.
In a really broad... But that was you. I don't know whether you remember that, but I can remember in one of those early conversations you saying, I think it's about home and about theatre. I'm thinking about a caravan. And there's no going back from that.
Yeah.
You go, that's perfect. It does bring in what it is to create a home, but it's a temporary home, and it's a humble home, isn't it? The humility of this caravan in the Old Vic. Yeah. It is really moving already.
It really is, and it's the sort of the make, do and mend, the fact that you accommodate yourself throughout a theatrical life, you accommodate yourself to the resources that are available somehow, whether that's emotional, sort of creatively artistic or financial. But you have new parameters every time you start a job. So there's something about, to get really pretentious for a minute, the metaphor of caravan living that feels really true to that, that it's about making the most of what you've got. And that's real Wise Children, isn't it? That's Dora Nora all over.
Who are you and what's your job?
I'm Malcolm, the lighting designer on Wise Children.
And where are we in the process?
So we're just about to start technical rehearsals. Spent a lot of time in the rehearsal room, and we've got on stage 2 days ago and focused all of the lights, built the set, and now we get the actors to come and join us and put it all together. So over the last few weeks I've drawn a plan which indicates where each lighting fixture is in the air. So they all got rigged on Monday, and then we've been pointing them all in the right directions to make a start of lighting the show.
How many lights have you got?
I'm not sure. Maybe 200? Maybe? If you count all the light bulbs and all the set, there's quite a lot more. But maybe 200 real ones.
So there's obviously all the lights in the air, but we also often have things called practicals. Tell me about practicals, because I like a practical and you like a practical.
I love a practical. A practical is anything on the set which is sort of a real light, like not a theatrical fixture, but something that you might have in the real world quite often. So we've got a lot of strings of festoon, which are just light bulbs hanging on a big string, like giant fairy lights hanging across the stage. We've got a big sign that says Wise Children that lights up and chases and does things. We've got some classic dressing table mirrors that you might imagine in a theatre dressing room with light bulbs around the mirrors. And we have a caravan which moves around our set, and inside that are various different light fixtures which go with different locations that it is. So we have another mirror with light bulbs around it. We have table lamps in a little interior.
We've also got braking lights at the back of the caravan.
And the caravan also has brake lights.
Are they going to light up?
Front lights and indicators which can flash. All at appropriate times, or inappropriate times if we get bored.
Magic.
Yeah.
Just take me back a bit. You just said that you were in rehearsals, and in my experience, I've never known another lighting designer spend so much time in rehearsals, and it's one of the many things I love about you. Talk to me about what you do in rehearsals and what that process does for you.
I'm largely imagining how each scene might look. So kind of painting pictures in my head around what's happening on stage, and that's what's physically happening on stage, but also what I'm feeling in response to what's going on in the rehearsal room. So the atmosphere of each scene, how each scene fits theatrically into and how we tell the story, and actually how we tell the story. There are lots of different ways of telling stories, and lighting can be realistic, it can be abstract, it can be colourful, it can be bleak and monochrome, but also the way it shifts from one scene to the next tells us how the story is being broken down and built up. So I'm imagining all of those things in little pictures in my head and trying to turn that into a lighting rig and a design which is really appropriate to what's happening.
I always think you paint with light.
Yeah, that's very nice, isn't it?
And you are a brilliant storyteller. And in fact, there's one bit of the show, isn't there, when I ran out of all ideas, and then I go, Malcolm, over to you to change this location.
Oh yeah, and that's fine. That's just like editing in a film. We go, you're in one place and then suddenly you're somewhere else completely, and we can do that in theatre just by changing the lights.
And what's the best bit about the next few days, and what's the worst bit?
The best bit is being completely focused on the one thing that's happening in front of me, which is the best thing about a technical rehearsal, is all that is happening is what's happening on this stage in front of me. It's complete focus, which I love, and getting from the beginning of this tale to the end. And the worst thing? What's the worst thing? I guess it can get quite stressful at times. But hopefully, if we're all working together, then everyone knows that I haven't necessarily got the right solution first time, but then no one does. We've just been through a rehearsal process where everyone's making offers, creating things, and we're all editing each other's work. Yeah, it can be nerve-wracking. It's usually the very beginning that's nerve-wracking.
Yeah.
Certainly today's going to be. I haven't had very much time to prepare lighting states for the shows. There's only a few cues at the beginning, and I'm not quite sure I've got the world right yet. But that's fine.
But you work in layers. You start, and I've watched you work for many years, and I watched you just build up a world and a storyboard of storytelling and colour that builds up over previews.
That's true. Yeah, I've got a pretty good plan A of what I'm going to do, but I know that isn't the final product. So even what I've imagined in my head, which I haven't even got on stage yet, I know it's not the final picture.
Well, I can't wait, because I've been looking at it in harsh rehearsal room light, and I feel that this is where the magic wand comes.
Yeah.
Come and sit here.
Oh my God.
Look at. What's your name? What do you do?
Lizzie, prop supervisor.
What does that mean?
The flowers and the butterflies, anything the actors touch, sit on, stand on, dance with, look at, that's all me.
Because it's not, we're sat here and looking at a dressing table which has got so much beautiful detail, but it's not just that, it's trunks and theatre boxes and the whole dressing of the caravan as well. Tell me about the caravan.
I can't do the caravan, but I can tell you that the dressing table we're sat at, I'm looking at 36 individual items, and that's just the tabletop of one of our dressing tables, of which we have 3, and then thousands of other things waiting in the wings.
I think you're like a magician. I think you create miniature worlds, and all of the detail feeds into the story. But where do you get it from?
I buy some. So what do I always say? We source from markets and charity shops and friends and family, and we make stuff out of stuff that wasn't supposed to be stuff. Like this was a hat block, and this was a candlestick.
Amazing.
And that's how we've made our vintage wig block.
But I'm looking at this dressing table and the 30 props that are on it. Have you bought those in advance and then you pick out of your stock, or did you buy them all for Wise Children?
It's a mixture. So, for instance, that talcum powder tin used to be my personal change tin. I used to put my coppers in there, and I thought it'd be perfect on the dressing table, so I bought it in. The juggling balls we had a lady in Spain hand make because they're hand-stitched leather, so she specialised in that. That's what she did.
Wow.
Juggling balls. And then a lot of...
For us?
For you, yeah, for Wise Children.
See, I didn't know that. That's amazing.
Some of the hand props Vicki and I bought at the antique market, some of the dressing table props, and some of the extra dressing table stuff has come up at my store that I thought would look good in the world. We made the butterflies.
These are butterflies on sticks. You have to see the show to know what that's about.
Yeah, we made the butterflies, and that's carbon fibre rod. That's feather butterfly, and they've got dowel handles on, so they can be puppeteered. The mirrors were all found either at charity shops or antique markets, and then this has been a bit of a labour of love with finding the right size mirror, then having the backboards cut in-house at the Old Vic, and then the electricians on Wise Children have wired them all up, and then my props team have put them all together as one unit and then mounted them on the dressing tables.
They've just lit up.
Yeah.
They've lit up our faces.
Romantic.
It's amazing. It's amazing. And this is a work of art in itself. It feels like an installation through time and history.
But what's interesting is I got all the ingredients together, and I said to Vicki about 2 hours ago, here's all your ingredients, let's do dressing tables. And it's like she got a magic wand and wafted it, and all of a sudden it was perfect. Because that's how brilliant she is.
Who are you and what do you do?
I'm Simon, and I'm the sound designer for Wise Children.
What does that mean?
It means that I'm in charge pretty much of what everybody else hears. So not just what the audience hears, but also what the company hears, so they can hear the band, and what the band hears, so they can hear the company, and also things like communication between everybody working on the show as well.
And what people are listening to on headphones, so all the way through.
So all the way through. So whatever, any noise or any sound that's being generated by the show comes under my remit.
So it's artistic and technical?
Up until the point we go into the technical rehearsal, my job is primarily technical. So you're making sure the systems are working, that there's lots of loudspeakers in the auditorium, so you're making sure they're all aligned and time corrected and equalised properly. And then as we move into the technical rehearsal, I can then start to concentrate on the creative delivery of the show and how we use all those elements to tell the story.
And what sort of elements tell the story?
Wise Children's full of music and it's full of songs, and obviously we have the text itself, which is key. And my job, I can also bring things like sound effects to help underline some of those moments or to colour some of those moments in. So we might go to Brighton, and visually we might see some sand, and we might hear seagulls and sea to tell us we're in Brighton. So my job would be to find the right type of sea and the right type of seagulls to make a very, very quick assumption that we're at the seaside.
And you're really good at that. I think you're really good at the suggestion of place in a really immediate and emotional way.
Yeah, I think sound, we all have sound memories built in, and whilst my sound memories won't be the same as yours, well, my job is to find the common thread so we can make that shortcut in sound very quickly to say, oh, okay, we're outside, or we're in a restaurant, oh, it's morning, or we can use sound to define period as well as place. So there's lots of different ways we can use sound effects to aid a story along.
I also think the way that you use sound is really great for me because it gives a lot of articulation. It often gives some energy or that can spin us between scenes.
Yeah, I mean, I'm always looking for those little moments where we call them little accents. So there's, whether it's a move from a performer or whether it's a sudden change in mood in the text or whether it's a sudden move in staging, and accenting those. And I look for little elements of sound which are drawn out of the world. So on this, we haven't started yet, but on this we're thinking that it's the creak of stage floorboards, and it might be the applause or it might be the sound of fabric because of the way the front curtains are going to fall in. So we're looking for lots of little abstracted sounds which I can then all glue together and make a little shape, which is in the sound world we call a riser or a stinger, but I like to call them little accents.
So the thing we haven't talked about is we use radio mics, don't we?
We do use radios.
Nobody knew that, did they?
No, who knew? It's never come up before.
One of the things, I never used radio mics until I worked with you, and now I love them. I love what they give me as a director, because they give me the ability to really craft performances from the very intimate to the very large. It also allows me to have underscoring, so actors, I can have music and text going on at the same time. And I think it also allows me to have actors look after their voices over a long tour. So it's doing a lot for me. Which I want to hear any thoughts you've got. But one of the things that I cannot believe with your work is that it doesn't sound amplified. It feels like the voices are still coming from the people on stage. And how do you manage that alchemy?
With a company like this, we're blessed in that acoustically the company are very strong. So we have what we would call in the sound world a very strong source. So the performers are great and they're solid, which makes them 10 times easier to reinforce or to amplify with a radio mic. And then we're just really careful. We apply, I suppose I've applied what I've learned from doing musicals and applied that into the play world. Every actor that comes on stage, we have to find a solution for, whether that's EQ or mic placement or type of mic. So there's lots of detail that happens at the mixing console. I use a very particular type of loudspeaker system, and then I'm very careful about how that loudspeaker system's tuned in the auditorium. And it takes a long time, and you just have to have enough energy to keep going in every day and refining and tweaking until it's absolutely, as we would call it, transparent as possible. So no one starts to really notice whether it's there or not. We're always using the most expensive loudspeaker we can, the most expensive microphone we can. So everything's at the very high end.
Producers love to hear that.
They love it when I say that, especially Poppy is absolutely delighted we're using the most expensive loudspeaker on this show.
But the results are, as you say, natural, which is I don't think people come into this work, my work with you as sound designer, hearing amplified sound.
No, I mean, we don't. I don't think they do anyway, and I wouldn't like people to feel that it's overly amplified. It's a trick. It's like most things in theatre. It's an illusion. We use lots of little fiddly bits of maths to make everything feel as transparent as it can.
Magic.
Hi, I'm Lucy. I'm costume supervisor.
What does that mean?
I work with our designer Vicki to put the costumes together to go on stage.
That sounds really simple.
It's very simple. I look at some pictures, buy some stuff, make people wear
It's so not simple. It's one of the most complicated jobs in theatre. I'm laughing because I watched Lucy try and translate this crazy show where everybody's transforming every 5 minutes into a costume world that makes sense, has beauty, and is practical.
That's what we aim for, definitely.
How many changes of costume are there in this show?
I haven't actually counted, so I would say each person has maybe 3 or 4 characters. Yeah, they're pretty busy.
As are you.
Not right now.
But there's amazing detail that I'm watching. Things like, because we go through history and different generations, is that when we meet the young characters, they're in these very vivid costumes, and later on we meet the older characters and they're in the same costumes but they're slightly faded. How do you do something like that?
How do you do that? Well, we've used a company called Hatley Print who have worked with Vicki to create the faded fabric. So we've bought the initial, for instance, on the tartan. It's an original tartan that we've brought down from Scotland. We've then scanned it, and Vicki and Hatley Print have worked out what level they wanted to fade the tartan out till. And there are a few different variants in that. You can just shade down the colour, but you can also diffuse the strength of it as well. So there's been a bit of process there. And then we've pressed go and they've printed it, and we've given it to a maker who's made some beautiful trousers.
Extraordinary detailing that is going to really add up to an amazing bit of storytelling.
It's a real treat to do visually for us. It's just an absolute gem, and we've done that with a couple of pairs of trousers. Only one pair have been printed, the other pair of velvets that we've bought a couple of shades to try and step that fade. And then the kimonos that the Noradorers wear, we've got a faded set of those as well. So it's really beautiful. It's very exciting.
We're about to start tech. The actors are about to arrive, and I am as director, I'm most scared about the costume changes. Scared sounds wrong, but it's so complicated, so everybody has to be really ahead of the game, which of course is the one thing none of us are.
No, well, we can preempt as much as possible, and we've had a lot of timings from the rehearsal room, from you and from stage management. So we've tried to build in quick change options into their costumes, poppers, elastics, on and off, nice and quick and easy. We had a bit of a day yesterday where we practiced a lot of stuff, which was great fun and really helpful. So now really all we can do is run at it and see what happens.
And I'd just like to point out that Lucy is marvellously wearing a tape measure around her neck and is currently tying it into a necklace. I love it. The iconic look of a costume supervisor.
Can't let it go, it's my safety net.
Hello, I'm Steph and I am the company stage manager.
And what's your primary tasks?
Okay, so at the moment, what I'm currently doing is I'm on the book. So in the purposes of tech, I am calling the show, all the lighting cues and the caravan moves, etc. In my wider role as the company manager, it's looking after the company on a day-to-day basis and helping manage schedules and stuff like that. And as a stage manager, sort of having an overall eye on the performance, rehearsals, and all the factors that need to go into making the show.
You did really well.
Thanks.
Can I say, right, me and Steph met 12 years ago.
Yeah, 7.
Yeah, and I've never met anybody as able, talented, warm-spirited. It's like she holds the heart of every production she works on. So when she boils it down to that list of tasks that she does, it's nothing compared to... it feels like she holds everything in her kind hands, not only the order that everything goes in the show, which is the book, isn't it? Mm-hmm. So you literally tell everybody what to do. But you tell me what to do. Steph tends to know when I need to get breakfast or do an interview. But also really looking after the company welfare. It's extraordinary what you do. Right, that's me just saying that. And I never ever want to make a piece of work without Steph beside me. Just going to say that. But at the moment, you're sat in the auditorium next to the biggest box of technology. What's that?
I mean, it's ridiculous. I think it could be a quarter of the size that it is. But this has got all the cue lights for cueing this. So I've got the Flyers LX sound. I've got the MD. Yeah. Mid-stage open. So I've got the Flyers LX sound, I've got the band, I've got the winch operator for the caravan moves, and I've got a cue light for the cast should we need it, which we haven't used yet. So I've got the cue lights and I'm able to talk to company backstage. I'm able to make front of house calls, which is sort of irrelevant at the moment, but will come into its own from tomorrow. And I am able to talk to everyone in the technical team.
So for those of you that
and I've got 2
imagine.
screens.
Oh yeah, and she's looking at the screens. You know, in The Wizard of Oz, when they pull back the curtain, that's what Steph is. She's the wizard. In a good way. In a good way. You are the wizard.
Thank you.
And I tell you what, if I pulled back the curtains and you were there, I'd be delighted.
Oh, thank you very much, Emma Rice.
And get back to work.
I'm Charlie. I'm the assistant stage manager for Wise Children, which means I take care of backstage and all of the props.
And that sounds like a small job. It's an absolutely massive job because there's so many props in this show.
There are a lot of props in this show because we're creating so many different worlds, so we just seem to have thousands of objects on stage. So it's actually quite a big job for this show.
We were just looking at some, so just describe what you've just showed me here.
So I'm looking at a chest that's got photo albums and scrapbooks on it, and this is Grandma Chance's old records of what Nora and Dora used to do when they were showgirls. So we've got beautiful pictures, old pictures of showgirls, old theatre posters and tickets and postcards that the girls would have sent her, and a ticket stub that says Duke of York's Theatre, which is one of the lines from the show. So the detail that's gone in is really incredible.
I've never seen anything like it because, you know, the audience has never seen it. But by putting this amount of detail sort of gives an integrity to the production, doesn't it?
Yeah.
That feels really, really moving. It's like we're creating our own history as well as Angela Carter's.
Completely. It brings our world to life, which makes it more believable for the actors playing the characters, and it means that we're all living in this world, and we've really created a magical realism for ourselves.
And then I'm going to let you get on with your job, because look, there's loads of people waiting
Lots
for you.
of crew
But
waiting for me to do my reset.
Describe the sort of, because Charlie's basically leading things like a royal tournament with this caravan. Describe the caravan changes.
So the caravan is our piece of moving scenery. It becomes 4 different settings within our show. So sometimes I have 1 or 2 minutes to be resetting it to an entirely different world, which means taking all the furniture out. We're about to spin the caravan, so I'm just going to climb out.
That's me. Chucked off stage is what you just heard. It's astounding to watch this incredibly experienced and energetic team bring all the elements together so seamlessly. I look around the auditorium and I see friends, old and new, all working together to problem solve. They have a common goal, which is to realise the vision of the show in the most generous and creative way. They make it look so easy and effortless, but I know just how hard this work is and how much planning and care has gone into every detail. Their calmness when I interview them belies the enormity of the project they're overseeing. I'm going to name it. This is an exceptional and highly skilled team of people working at the peak of their powers, and I am agog with admiration and gratitude.
So, ladies and gents, just so you know, in the blackout, we're going to be bringing while you're exiting, we're going to be bringing the theatre cloth in. Okay. So,
after 2 long days of fit-up, the band is tuning up and the cast are getting into costumes and wigs for the first time. We are now heading into the technical rehearsal process, where we work slowly through the show, adding all the different elements. Here, we will discover new ideas and lose some that don't work. And the acting company will slowly start to adapt to the space and their new surroundings and all the added complications of costumes and wigs and props and radio
okay,
mics.
standing by, please. Taking it from thank you, Nor.
And all the time, everyone is aware that the clock is ticking. We are heading towards Saturday night and our first dress rehearsal. We've invited some friends to cheer us on our way. About 700 of them. No pressure at all.
Thank you so much. I just wanted to take a moment to say thank you for being here, to launch not only the show Wise Children, but the company Wise Children.
Next time, I'm going to be talking to the cast as we develop the show through previews in our run-up to press night.